In this video, I'm going to expand on my discussion of exponents. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because people are asking me, when do you add, subtract, multiply, or divide exponents? Well, I'm going to go through some of this. There's probably more than what I'm going to present here in this video, and feel free to ask your math teacher about this, but I'm going to tell you what I do know, and then you can expand on it with your math teacher later on. Alright. When you have two numbers like here, we've got 2 squared times 2 to the 4th. A lot of people, when they have multiplication, they usually use the multiplication sign of x. Alright, but if you're doing algebra, that x can be confused as some kind of a coefficient. So you don't want to use x as your symbol of multiplication when you're dealing with algebra. You'd rather use the dot instead. The dot actually means multiplication and algebra. Alright, so now you have a math problem here. 2 squared times 2 to the 4th. Alright, when you're multiplying your numerical coefficients, then what you're going to do is you're going to add the exponents. So 2 plus 4 becomes 6. So now you have 2 to the 6th power, which is 64. Now what happens if you have a numerical coefficient with an exponent and it's put in parentheses and yet another exponent is put above the parentheses? Let's take this for example. We have 2 squared and this here is going to be raised to the 4th power. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the exponents here, the squared here and the 4th power here, and you're going to multiply them together, and you're going to come up with 2 to the 8th, which is going to be 256. Okay? Alright. Now let's say you have two numerical coefficients in parentheses, you're multiplying them together, and then you're going to raise them to some kind of a power. Let's take an example here. You have 4 times 2 in parentheses, and the answer to this is going to be raised to the 4th power. So what you're going to have is 4 to the 4th power times 2 to the 4th power. So you're going to have the number 256 times 16, and so you're going to have the answer of 4096. Now what if you have a fraction? Okay, you have a numerator and a denominator, it's in parentheses, and you have it raised to another power. Let's give you an example of that. You have 1/5 and it's going to be raised to this square. So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute that square to both the numerator and the denominator. So you're going to have 1 squared and 5 squared, which is going to make an answer of 125, because 1 times 1 is 1 and 5 times 5 is 25. So now you're going to have an answer of 125. Now anytime you raise a number to the power of 0, automatically it becomes the number 1. Take for example this. 2 to the power of 0 is 1. Okay? Now, what happens if the exponent that is above the numerical coefficient is a negative number? Well, remember when I talked about reciprocals? Remember that little girl, she did the handstand? Well, here's where it comes into action. You have 2 raised to the power of negative 2, so you're going to have the reciprocal, which is 1 over 2 squared, which will actually equal 1/4. And there you have it. Alright, I will talk about more things in a future video, so stay tuned.